Hello, everybody. Good Friday to all of you. Magda Connects is landing today in Portugal. It's the second time, but the first time with Sofia. Sofia, hello. Thank you very much for taking the invitation and joining our stream today. There are many people who know you, so I would also like to welcome them if they are going to join or maybe even later. But for those who don't know you yet, I would like to say that, Sofia, you are a very extraordinary person, because I will try to mention some things you do, but I'm sure I will forget half of it. So you are a yoga teacher. You are a founder of Sofia International Yoga School, which I like a lot. I love. You're a therapist. You're a chef. And you're a writer. And you are a holistic health counselor. So it's a long list. You may.
It's all interconnected.
Yeah. So, Sofia, hello. Thank you for being here with us. I want to ask you the first question in this interview. First of all, how are you? And how did you spend the last couple of weeks of your life and work in lockdown? How was it?
How long time do we have? The lockdown has been quite an experience for us all. But first, I just want to say thank you for the invitation. And I feel really good, and I feel healthy, and I feel grateful and positive. And I want to tell you why I feel grateful, because even through this difficult time and challenging time we all went through, I reminded myself that I have everything I need, and I made that into a daily practice to remind myself of it. And so I have a home, I have food, I'm healthy, my family is well. And so those simple things, which are everything, they made me feel quite grateful. And so even some days were easier than others, and I'm sure we all had our days that we felt a little bit more down or hopeless. I just kept in mind this bigger picture, because there's a lot of people that, they don't have a home, they don't, food is an issue, and safety is an issue too. So if you have those things wherever you are, you're a very blessed person. So keep that big picture as well. And so the lockdown was an interesting experience, and in a way not so different than my normal life, because I do spend quite a lot of time at home, and I spend a lot of time by myself as well. So in that way, it was not very different. But what was different was, one, the length that we had to go through it, and how do you watch your mind and watch your habits during this time? And so that was what I was focusing on. And every week was different. Every week was different.
Actually, here I would like to mention that as you worked, you shared with people who know you yoga, meditation on thankfulness and gratitude. We will be posting linking to this stream, and it was very helpful, I think, not only for me but to people I know. It was a great idea, and I wanted to say thank you for sharing it with us. Was it then a baby of the time, this meditation?
Well, interesting enough, I recorded those. I did a series of meditations. They're not all out, um, but I record them the months before this whole thing started. I was in Thailand in the winter, and there was a studio there, like a recording studio. So I booked some sessions, and I recorded like these meditations, which were not. I didn't write them or anything. I just went into the studio and for a few hours, and we basically just downloaded those meditations. And when this situation happened, the global situation, I thought the gratitude meditation would be quite on point. So again, like I said in the beginning, so we don't lose the bigger perspective. There's always something to be grateful for, no matter how difficult situation we are. If we are alive, there's hope. And so it was just a way, it was an offering for us to keep feeding the gratitude energy and see what springs from feeding that, basically. And I received a lot of positive feedback about it, which was great. And I'm inspired to do more, for sure.
We will link the meditation so everybody can leverage from it anytime. You work with yoga, meditation, nutrition, and actually this knowledge is based on 5 elements philosophy. Could you please explain to people who don't know what 5 elements is and how it could affect our life and health and happiness? Because this interview is about staying strong, staying positive, staying healthy in our life. And you have this habit. So 5 elements, if you could give us some insights.
Well, the 5 elements are philosophical principles that spring from ancient medicinal systems, natural medicinal systems, especially Ayurveda, which comes from India, and traditional Chinese medicine, which comes from China, obviously. And the 5 element system, so between these 2 cultures and these 2 natural holistic systems, they are different, they have quite a lot in common. And so the 5 elements represent the 5 different energies that are in nature, that are in the universe. And we as humans are a micro representation of those 5 elements of nature. So we are part of nature as well, meaning that those 5 elements run in our system as well. And in nature, the most direct way that I always say to people to observe the elements is through the seasons. And so we have spring, summer, harvest, which is like a transition season between summer and autumn, and then we have autumn and winter. And so there's a very great way of observing like how the 5 elements move through the year. And then the 5 elements in ourselves has to do with our body constitution. Like we are born with tendencies or let's say our natural makeup. And we have some elements that are more predominant and some that are less predominant. When we learn about the elements, what we want to try to do is to stay as close as possible to our originality. Yeah. And then of course we interact with the elements of nature. And that interaction between us and our environment also contributes to how the elements play inside of us. Mm-hmm. And so in Ayurveda, you have what, I don't know if people have heard about this dosha tests, which is to, in a way, assess what are the elements that are predominant in you, in your physical constitution, and also the elements that are predominant in your mental constitution and in your tendencies and habits. So in a way, it's a way of like recognizing what is your originality, what is it your strengths, what are your challenges, And how do you harmonize with the environment in a way that you can experience holistic health? So that means that you wake up and sleep well, your digestion runs smooth, your emotion and mental health is in check, and you have energy and stamina to pursue your dreams, your goals, and within that, you also want to reach out to not just to you, but also to everything that it's around you, your community, your friends, your family. So it's kind of like it's aligning into, I don't like the word righteous, but it's used a lot in yoga philosophy and also in Ayurveda, but it's more about this, how to align life. So it's yourself with life, yourself with nature. And I do think even these systems are quite ancient. They have like 5,000 years old. They're very relevant for now because we are a little bit disconnected from nature. And we need to get back to it. And so I find, and through the work that I do, and I do it on myself as well, I've been doing it for many years, is it's to get back to our connection with nature. It's to, the closer we are with nature, the closer we are to our originality. And that is when we step into our authentic self and our empowered self. So Ayurveda, and it's really for that. And the 5-element philosophy is really for connecting us with our essential nature, basically.
So, Sofia, could we name the 5 elements we have in us and we have in nature? And also for people who never had their doshas checked, practically, how does it look like? Who can help us with this? Who can give us some knowledge about this? Do we need any doctor appointment or?
Well, I think the best way to start is really to, if you're interested, to read about it, and we can write some, in the end, we can send some books that I find interesting to read about and to get to know about. For most people, this is a new idea, to connect with this idea that you are a micro representation of the macro cosmos. And that the elements, they play inside of you and they interact with the environment and the seasons. And so the elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether, or space. In Chinese medicine is the same. They use different metaphors: earth, water, fire, and then instead of air, they use the element of metal, and instead of space or ether, they use the element of wood. But they represent the same organs, and they are also in different body parts. And so what I normally, in the beginning, when I'm approaching this subject with somebody for the first time, you just have to intuitively connect with the energies that you perceive in the elements. So when we talk about earth, the first thing that comes to mind is qualities like solidity or groundedness. If you think about water, or if you contemplate water, you think more about flow, fluidity, reflection. It's generally, obviously, softer than the earth element. If you think about fire, you think about passion, you think about transformation, you think about creation. So it's more subtle even than the elements of water and earth. And if you move on into the air element, if you think about air, you think about the air that we breathe, and obviously, so it has a very lighter quality. And if we observe how the air moves, then we know that air is quite light, and air brings change as well. And so, like, giving an example with that, if you're somebody that, is very comfortable with change, and if you never really settle anywhere and you're always on the move, always in change, then your air element is quite strong in you, which means maybe the earth element is not so strong. The solidity, the sitting still, the routine, the consistency. So it's all about observing ourselves and observing and assessing what do we have in an abundant way, like which element is abundant and which one is lacking, and then adjust your lifestyle so you can create balance in between. And then just to finish off, you have the last element, which is the space ether, which is quite, like even the name says it, ether is quite etherical. It's something you cannot see, touch, smell. It's pervading everywhere. And so in that sense, you connect more with the aspects of the unknown and the aspects of spirit as well, which is something that we can only feel and believe, but we can't see it. And so some people have a natural connection to that.
Natural. Why some only? Why other people don't have it? You think they are disconnected, like you said before? This is the reason?
You mean in relation to this last element?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I think one, it's not something that like in society, you see it through religion a little bit, like faith. People that practice religion, they have quite strong faith. But in my understanding, religion and spirituality, they don't mean the same thing. You can be very religious and not spiritual, and you can be spiritual and not religious. In my understanding, it's the connection to something that it's bigger than yourself, and people associate the different connection with the unknown or with this energy that is bigger than yourself with different things. Some associated with the God, some associated with the Mother Nature in itself, and some associated. Like I live in a surfing community, and when I talk with my surfer friends, the surf in itself and riding those waves is their connection with the divine. Like those waves are bigger than them, and they understand they're there just to ride it, not to dominate it.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Cool.
So spirit is everywhere. That's the essence of the space, the ether element.
Right now we are in spring, coming towards summer. Could you advise any practice or practices for people who are listening to us, could apply on daily basis right now? Guys, listen to this.
Right now. So we are going towards like the end of spring and towards the summer. So one thing that you immediately start noticing is the weather is warmer. So if the weather is warmer, we need to, how do you say, harmonize with the environment. And so one of the things you can do is definitely start shifting a little bit the diet. So starting to eat more fresh food, more raw food, more liquids, as the heat actually drains liquids from the body. And so you'll need more hydration. And that can come also through the foods that you consume. So if you eat more leafy green foods, more raw foods, you're also consuming more water, as opposed to cooked foods or heavier foods that are better for the winter and the autumn times where we need to feel a bit more grounded. And so so food is one. Movement is another one. So definitely moving the body more, being outdoors more, enjoying the sunlight more, and especially for those of you that are more in the northern countries, you know that the winter is quite dark. And so this is the time to really soak up the sun and soak up the light as well. And in terms of movement, because I teach a very therapeutical form of yoga. So it's very attuned to the organs, the meridians of the body, and obviously the seasons as well. So we say that in this time of the year, it's essential, as we're going from spring into summer, is essential that we connect with the organs that go with the spring, or that go with the space elements, which are the liver and the gallbladder. And their channels, they run through the side of the body and the inner legs as well. So deep stretches, deep side stretches, twists for the liver are really good if you already have a yoga practice, to introduce those kind of movements as well. But the general, not to be so specific, the general idea is that you notice that how the weather is changing outside, right? And how the patterns are changing, and you harmonize with it. So like I said before, the most obvious is that the weather is warmer. So you need to eat more cooling foods, and you need to drink more liquid foods as well. So less heavy foods, just light food. Cook your food light, like steam your food, or quick stir fry your food. Don't eat foods that are cooked for a long period of time. And when you go shopping, look for green. Mm-hmm. Look for green, and then we look for green foods. And I remember we're going into the summer, and in the summer we want to go towards the red foods. And you can see now there's an abundance of strawberries and raspberries and red peppers, and just connect also through the colors as well. So think about green for spring, red for summer. Beetroots, for example, are great.
Chocolate is not green unless you buy a matcha chocolate. So what is the advice?
Well, chocolate is bitter, which is quite useful for summer, because the bitter taste actually cools down the body temperature. So if you are one of those people that have a lot of fire and needs a little bit of cool down, chocolate is not a bad idea. But good chocolate and non-sugary.
So we have an excuse. Good. What about people who start a certain habit? And you said during lockdown you had lots of habits and you continued. So you are a professional in keeping the habit. How to continue? How not to start and then you say, oh, it's done after 2-3 weeks. Yeah. I'm not going on. What's your advice on this?
Well, I'm a professional, but I'm human too. So I have my own challenges with keeping up habits, but I can share with you what I feel it's the challenge, at least. So for me, the challenge is always the consistency, and I think that's the challenge for a lot of people. And one thing that I learned to do is sometimes if I want to do something, so for one thing that I've done a lot in the lockdown is exercise. And I don't mean like yoga, I mean like functional fitness, functional movement. And so one of the things that I've learned to do is when there is this monologue in my head that says, I'm tired now, I don't want to do it. I learned to distinguish when that is real and when that is not. And so one of my strategies often to ignore that voice, because if I sleep 8 hours a day, which I do, and I'm eating well, so there's no need for me to be tired in the lockdown. And so I can be lazy sometimes and not wanting to exercise. So that's one thing. And the other thing is to really listen to the voices that go on in your head. And those voices often have very refined sabotage mechanisms that prevent you from doing what you want, that prevent you from actually what you have said to yourself the day before, even about tomorrow I want to do this, tomorrow I want to exercise, or tomorrow I want to cook a nice meal. And then the day comes and you find some kind of excuse. So my strategy is to acknowledge the excuse is there, listen to it, but then ignore it and move on to actually doing. And my experience, especially with exercise, is that after I feel so much better. And the more I do that, the more days I do that, I reinforce the idea that no matter what is my state of mind, I commit to what I have set out to do, either being cooking or exercising, which was the two things that throughout the lockdown, throughout those 8 weeks, it was quite present for me. Like you said in the beginning that I'm a chef, I kind of forgot that I went to cooking school for 3 years. And I just reconnected with all of that in this period, and started cooking on a daily basis, went and picked up all my macrobiotic books from cooking school and just started to doing all of those things again, because I think before this happened, life was a little bit on the move.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget the important aspects. Yeah.
When you have your habits, do you have any habits that are applied by you in the morning and in the evening? Because if we do the same every day, like very intensive training in the evening, maybe we will be not able to sleep. Is there any advice on this from you? Like moderate?
So for me personally, and I think that's true for a lot of people, exercise goes much better in the morning, especially if it's yang. And by yang, I mean dynamic. And so dynamic movement in the morning is quite good to wake up all your systems and put everything into movement. But some of my daily habits that I do every day is I wake up in the morning and I drink tea. That's one of the rituals I do. And then the morning for me is really the exercise time, because I seem to, this is all about getting to know yourself as well. You can, there's many rules and there's many guidelines, but in the end of the day, and this goes back to the 5 elements philosophy, in the end of the day, you have to learn about yourself and how you work and how your mind works as well, because your mind determines a lot of your habits. And then, so for me, I know that if I pass that morning period and I don't do the exercise, it's going to be difficult to do it in the end of the day. So then I stick to my exercise routine, or if it's yoga practice in that day, then the yoga in the morning, because in the end of the day, the only thing I like to do in the end of the day is more go for walks around sunset. So yeah, start the day with some warm, either if it's water or tea, just to wake up everything. And then add some movement. And you also have to feel what is appropriate in each day. And especially if you're a woman, you're going through your menstrual cycle as well. So you have different peaks of energy in the different weeks. And so you have to match what you do and even what you eat according to that cycle as well. So, but without getting into too much theory, what I always recommend is that just learn how to listen and how to feel and how to assess yourself first. And then make your decisions from that place. And learn how to recognize when it's a genuine feeling and when it's just your mental habits.
So habits of your mind and habits of you as a person. This is good. I like it. But actually, all of this we can learn from the courses you give, yes, from the newsletters you send, because the ritual of tea, I remember from the newsletter you sent out, it was so nice and comfy. I enjoyed reading about it. So people who want to get your newsletters, attend any of your courses, and maybe you could mention some of those you have in offer. Guys, I would suggest that you link with Sofia's website. I will be putting on the stream comments. So if you could just introduce a little bit of your offer,
Yeah,
think
so
it's interesting
we
for
offer different courses, but like I said, they all underpinned by this philosophy of the 5 elements. So we have courses in like general 200-hour teacher trainings. We also have women's yoga, and we also have holistic yin. We actually have one that it's starting on the 21st of June, and it's online. It's live but online, and where it's more directed to. You haven't done the yin course, no?
No, I moved it. Yeah, I'm coming.
In October, hopefully. So this course is more about connecting with yin energy, and through obviously through yoga practice, through nutrition, and to the connection of what is the essence of yin and how to bring that yin energy into ourselves and into our daily living. Then we have different courses like there are online, and they're quite relevant for now because it's not so easy to travel. And so people can just take a look in the website and see, what do they prefer to learn first.
And we must say these courses are for men and for women, for those who are mothers stressed with kids, women stressed with work. I think it's a good thing for our health and vitality. Yes, something different we can link to. So what are the other rituals you love during the day? Is there any favorite of yours apart from drinking tea in the morning?
Drinking tea is definitely one of my favorites. I love walking as well. And it was, I'm in Portugal, and even in the lockdown period, we were allowed to go out, and we were allowed to go out to walk. And so I already done that before, but I started doing it much more regularly because walking for me is like meditation. And so definitely walking is one of my really favorite rituals at the moment. Drinking tea, exercising.
What about
cooking?
Coffee? What about coffee? Did you cut coffee?
Coffee is good, but it's again like for me, it's coffee makes me too agitated, So I drink it when I need to be agitated. Like if I have a lot of computer work to do, coffee works perfectly. And if it's but I rather drink tea because tea for me is a much more stable energy. Coffee is quite up and then down, basically.
What is your advice to cut coffee? Because I have heard from people they have like 5 coffees a day. I say, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, first you need to ask if you want to quit coffee. Like most people don't. But if they do, I recommend. I've done coffee detoxes many times, and I have a lot of like strong symptoms. Like I have long headaches for like days, and that's why I don't drink it that much. It doesn't really work for me. My digestion gets too accelerated. But I would say just drinking lots of water instead, and lots of water with lemon. Because if you drink a lot of coffee, you're also kind of, it's like it's like creating internal stress, and your nervous system is always very agitated if you are under caffeine influence. All like 5 coffees a day, it's a lot. 1 coffee a day, I think is great. It's fine. 5, you might be stretching your nervous system a little bit. So depends what you want.
Yeah, it's like Michael says, the last coffee, 3 p.m. This is what he's mentioning quite often to people. Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
So, Sofia, time is running, and I hope I will have a chance to talk to you again. I will be posting this stream on Facebook, on YouTube, and whoever has a question, comments, will get the answers. And what other book suggestion you have, I will put also into the comments. And
I actually have books here that I'd like to show you. They were the books that were present with me during the lockdown. It's not really they're not Ayurvedic books or anything, but there is this book, Life on Land by Emily Conrad. If you are a movement enthusiastic like I am, you will love this book. It's about her life story and how she developed her system called Continuum. And I could see a lot of my own inspirations for teaching reflected in here. It's a beautiful, beautiful book. Then I have one of my favorite yoga books called Awakening the Spine by Vanda Scaravelli. And I love this book because it's so simple and quite artistic as well. Then I have a little bit of a nerdy book, but I use it a lot more like a Bible. It's called The Macrobiotic Path to Total Health by Michio Kushi, which was the founder of Macrobiotics, and Alex Jack. This is more like a guide for me. I use it a lot when I work with clients one-on-one. It has a bunch of like recipes and what to do for most diseases and a lot of chronic diseases. So it's a lot of like recipes more like in treatments, like drinks and stuff like that.
Cool.
I have The Saffron Tales by Yasmin Khan. She's a friend of mine, and I use this a lot during the lockdown. I have the book already for a couple of years, but because I had so much time now in my kitchen, I could use it a lot. And it's the recipes from Iran, and so it's a beautiful book. It has a lot of it has a lot of vegetarian recipes as well, but it's not a vegetarian book. But you can apply anything to vegetarians, just the ingredients they use and the flavors. I love discovering this book through my lockdown time. So those have been. Oh yeah, on your question about rituals, books are really part of my life quite a lot. I love my.
I took the note. I will be posting the title in the comments of the Facebook and YouTube, because I'm sure we can all dig into this knowledge and learn more about Sofia and her teaching as well.
Yeah, maybe not about Sofia, but definitely about these subjects that I find they're so empowering for all of us right now. And, with the current situation and what we just watched, the best way to be in tune with the environment is to build our immunity, and we build our immunity through what we eat, how we live, our relations, and our mental and emotional states. So if we keep check with those things, then our immunity builds up, and we are much better equipped to deal with whatever comes from the outside, viruses or interferences, whatever it is, and then we can actually come out of this stronger and healthier. But we have to put in the work.
And I think when we can also apply it for our children, because especially September, October, November, when all these diseases in kindergarten, school starts, and the things will come back. So let's practice now and leverage from summer that is coming, yes. And then, like you say, our immune system is stronger. If we feel happier, better, we sleep better, all is better.
Yeah, but it's definitely we have to put the work in, you know. We can't be waiting for other people to do that for us. We need to educate ourselves, and then with that we can build better resilience to deal with whatever is coming. And it's coming in different directions, as you can tell. So you also have to determine, like, what are you exposed to. You know, I think, you know, watching the news 24/7 is really bad for your immunity. You know?
Yeah. Agree.
So, tune into other frequencies, you know.
and And I think at the end, you can say, I'm thankful to myself that I went through this process. I feel happy. I feel good. So we come back to gratefulness and the prize we give ourselves at the end of the day, that we have managed to stay healthy, strong, and happy. And we share this energy with the beloved ones, family, and friends.
Yeah. Yeah. And cook your food. That's also very important. Cook your food, move your body, be thankful, sleep well. I mean, just basics of living, I think.
Yeah. Thank you, Sofia. Thank you from all my heart.
Thank you.
Also, big thank you to you guys for joining us. This recording stays forever online. We will be back. You will enjoy again, Sofia, and our chat in a couple of weeks. All blessings to you guys. Have a good Friday, great weekend, and stay healthy, strong, and happy.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.